Hey everyone, welcome to POPXP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the POPXP channel. Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile Scala with the POPXP, and joining me tonight is the most amazing Frank you're ever going to meet, Mr. Frank Amazing. Frank, how you doing, my man?
Good. The return of Frank Amazing.
The return of Frank Amazing. He's back, live, kicking it, and ready for our special event tonight, man. I'm pretty excited about this. This was something I think, a good friend of ours and a guest tonight, and he's a past guest on the show. Marvin Wynn, it was published, had his own book, The Edge. He was self-publishing and stuff. And then, he joined this amazing publishing family with his books in the mix, and brought it to our attention. And myself, I looked at it, you looked at it, Billy Tucci'S looked at it. We're like, oh man, we've got to make this a show, and we got to get these fine creators on here to talk about it. So without further ado, everyone, I want to bring in some great creators. We've got the COO in the house who's going to be joining us, Mr. Marcus H. Roberts. And we've got four creators who are being published through Second Sight Publishing. So everyone, let's bring the panel in. And first off, we've got Aaron in the house.
Hey everyone, how are you guys doing?
What's going on, Aaron?
Aaron Pahara.
We've got Marvin Wynn.
What's
going on, Marvin?
What's going on?
We've got Miss Carla Nappy in the house. How are we doing, Carla?
Good. How are you guys?
We got the man, the myth, the legend, the king that's filling those pages of your imagination, Mr. Alfred Page.
Good evening. What an intro. Thank you.
What is going on? And the COO, the man that makes everything happen. I think he does. At least that's what his bio says. Mr. Marcus H. Roberts. Marcus, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, doing good. How's everyone doing out there?
Man, we're doing pretty good. We're pretty excited. We're really excited to have you guys here. And, for those out there that don't know, maybe the panel here as well, POPXP started off as crowdfunding comics, and we really focused on, independent publishers, crowdfunding their books, doing everything on their own. And this episode right now, this panel is kind of the jumpstart of our, small press stuff, independent publishers, not just giving the individuals that exposure. We're also trying to move into the arena of getting small publishing companies exposure as well, because that's the mix of everything, right? It's an evolution. You start off, hopefully you get to a publisher, it helps with the distribution, you become part of that family. It's a great mix. And tonight we're honoring Second Sight Publishing. And I want to thank everyone before we get started. I just want to thank you all for taking the time to talk to us and to talk about your books, the publishing company. But I do want to hand it over to Marcus a bit. And, for the viewers out there that are watching this live, they're going to watch this recorded, tell us a bit about, Second Sight Publishing, how it started, what it's about.
Well, Second Sight Publishing actually started in Bradley Golden's basement, the basement of his mother's house. The very first book that he published was Mississippi Zombie, and then it was known as Second Sight Studios. He went from the Mississippi Zombie. He was able to connect with the recently passed Gary McClendon and did the Chess Masters series. So while he was still operating at Second Sight Studios, he was able to sign on with Antarctic Press, and in signing on with Antarctic Press, they published his Leave on the Light horror series, and also published what was called Cold Blooded Now. It was published in their horror comic series. Now, while he was at Antarctic Press, that Leave on the Light series, that issue #1 sold probably 7,000 copies. Wow. Issue #2, right there up under it. So he racked in some big numbers there in Antarctic Press with that Leave on the Light title. From there, he wanted to bring Mississippi Zombie back, and that's where he came. That's where I came into the picture along with Peter Brow. And he says, okay, I want to redo this book. And once we redid the book, we were able to sign Mississippi Zombie with Caliber Comics, once again at the Second Sight Studios. And we were like, okay, you know what? We need to stop playing around and let's do this for real. each one of us, Bradley, myself, Peter, and Bradley had worked with Larry Spike Gerald. So he's very familiar with Spike, and he was like, look, we all are wanting to do the same thing individually, so why not come together and let's do it and make it happen. So we decided to form Second Sight Publishing. That was May of last year. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary on Cinco de Mayo.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. In that 1 year, we've been able to position ourselves as a small press company, still with mainstream distribution. We have exclusive deals with a couple of studios to turn books into movies. We have some other things in the works. We call ourselves the future indie comics because as independent creators, and that's the beauty of this company, Bradley, myself, Peter, and Spike, we're all independent comic book creators. That's where we started from. So, in bringing people into the company, we know exactly their struggles. We are them. We know what they want. We know what they need. We know what they're looking for. And we know also one of the big things is we understand independent comic book creators because we are independent comic book creators. You know, that's where we all started from. So we work hard as a company to position ourselves so that our independent creators can get more exposure, can get the distribution because, you know, being honest, as an independent comic book creator, we know that one step that we are missing is distribution. You know, we can put the books out, but if they aren't distributed widely, then we're only looking at a limited number of sales. So distribution becomes important. And that's really where we come in as a company at Second Sight Publishing. We're able to get that distribution for our independent comic book creators because they all maintain control of their properties. Each one of these individuals here will tell you they own their stuff. They continue to own it. All we do is publish their books. So it's
Now,
more a partnership than anything else.
Yeah. Now, are you seeing an increase now with the distribution? Because right now you guys are going through Diamond, correct?
Yes, we are. And yeah, we have seen. I'll use Alfred Page as an example since he's sitting here. Alfred Page and I are friends. We were friends before Second Sight started publishing his book, and we did cons together. And in doing these cons, we've been hanging around each other since 2018, doing cons together. So I would see how his book would sell, and I realized that if we could get this book in front of more eyes, then his sales numbers will grow exponentially. And we were down in South Beach. I had just finished doing a con there, the Florida Lit Con. And we were grabbing us a slice of pizza on the strip there, and I laid everything out the page. I told him, look, man, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take your book. Well, your book is going to be one of the books that I take because I see the potential in the book, and we're going to get it out there. So I can say, knowing firsthand, I have seen an exponential growth in the number of books that Alfred Page has sold in a year in comparison to the last 2 months. So we work hard to do what we have told these creators that we were going to do. And I think they all will attest to that. I mean, we work hard to do it because, like I said, we're independent creators ourselves. We have been and still are where they are now. And we know what we would want as independent creators. So we try to do the same thing for them.
That's great. Now, as far as help with like distribution and everything for creators, do you also work on like, do you do anything with their social medias, with their marketing stuff? Do you guys coach or help in any other assistance beyond distribution?
Yeah, we actually try to be as involved as possible. I believe, and one of the good things is each creator understands that they aren't our only person, that we have other people. So we can't just focus all our time trying to promote or market one book. And everyone all across the board has been very understanding and generous with their time, even while we as a company promote other books. But we still take time to promote everyone's book, whether it be through a company page or on our personal pages. Because, you'll hear me say this a lot, we're independent creators. We know what we need. We want exposure. We need our stuff to be seen. We need a diverse fan base. I need Carla's fans to look at my book, and I need Aaron's fans to look at Paige's book. And I need Marvin's fans to look at Frank. If Frank, you got a book, we need Marvin's fans looking at it. And as independent creators, we understand, we know that that's how it is. So everyone is all in on that point. We support each other. We support each other 100%.
Now, all of you on the panel here, have you all done a crowdfunding campaign?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, you haven't done one, Marvin?
No.
Now,
It's coming.
It's coming. Now, Marcus, let me ask you, because you've done a crowdfunding campaign, right, Marcus?
Yes.
Yeah. So now, is that something that a second site's going to do as well? Are you guys going to help manage creators' crowdfunded books or things that they're doing? Are you guys going to be doing that as well?
No. and the reason being is, the Kickstarters and the crowdfunding, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of focus. And if we were to put all our time and focus on one of the creators' Kickstarters, that's time and focus we actually wouldn't have to put on company business. So instead of trying to manage their Kickstarters, we just help them promote it. Once again, whether it be on our company pages or our personal pages, if it's doing an interview with one of the creators in a live pop-up type of thing, no matter what, we try to help market and promote it. But as far as managing it, no, we don't try to manage it because our belief is we're publishing the book. We want them to make as much money as they can on their Kickstarter without having to pay a percentage here or a percentage there. We want them to make as much money as they can so they can deliver us a quality product for us to publish. Because we're publishing the book. And we'll call it double dipping. We're not going to double dip like that. We'll help you set your Kickstarter up and run it. We'll take 5-10%. And then we're publishing your book and getting a percentage of that too. No, we aren't like that. We'd rather them keep all of that money, put all those resources into turning out a quality product, and then bringing that to us so we can publish.
Nice. And TM Nerdy says, I'll be picking up pretty much everything from Second Sight Publishing. Awesome. Yeah, I like that. I like that concept you have. I like that whole, give it to the creators. Let them put as much as they can in. Give us the best product you can. Because I asked that question because I see, and it works for some, and it may not work for others, but I do see some smaller publishing companies doing that. They're trying to manage these people's, campaigns, whether it's Indiegogo or Kickstarter. And I always wondered if that's like any type of conflict. But I like how you guys do it. Let the creators deal with it. Deliver us the best product you can. Get as much as you can from it. I think that's a good motto to have.
Well, I understand that people see crowdfunding as a source of revenue, but that's not. You can't maintain a business on crowdfunding. Yeah. Instead, we can maintain our business on publishing quality books. So let the creators keep all that money. Because that means they're going to be paying their artists. They're going to be paying everyone involved with that Kickstarter. They're going to take that money and use it for what it's for, and then bring us the book, and then let us run with it because we're going to take the book and now we're going to make it do what it's going to do. So
exactly. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tony, man. Tony's awesome. I gotta get him back on. He's a good dude. So let's start meeting some of these great creators. If you don't mind, let's jump in. Aaron, tell us a bit about yourself, how you got into comics and when you started publishing through Second Sight.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Aaron Pahara, and I'm the creator of Book of Alexia. It's a fantasy title for Second Sight Publishing, and I actually got approached at the beginning. So I got approached at the very beginning of Second Sight Publishing. I was one of the first books that they signed. At least I believe that I'm one of the first books they got signed. And I started working on this title quite a bit ago. I wanted to have it in a visual format, and I just believed that a comic book was the best format for it. And it's really like a fantasy book. It's kind of like a Gods meet Game of Thrones type of story that focuses on family and stuff like that. And the reason I got into this particular story is that I grew up on all sorts of mythology, from Greek, Norse, Roman. I read all of this as a kid, and it just having all of those, deities together in the same realm. I thought there was a book like this before, and that's why I never really published it for all these years. I searched the internet, I did all of this. I'm like, there's no way somebody put this out, and there wasn't anything like this on the market. And I just wanted, I wanted to put that out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very cool. And you said you've done some crowdfunding as well, right?
Yes, I actually did 4 successful Kickstarters. The Kickstarter for issue 4 ended, I want to say, end of February, beginning of March. So I'm in the final phases of getting that done, that 4th issue. And then it's on to the last 2. So it's going to be a total of 6 books and then a one-shot.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, you have this. This is up. You can, and also viewers out there, if you're curious, you can head on over to Previews World, and if you type in Second Sight, you can start going through and seeing all the books, especially what's going to be coming out soon. And just as mentioned, he's got I'm sorry, how do you pronounce that?
Lyaxia.
Issue 3 is going to be coming out July 14th. So that's pretty cool. That's awesome, man. And let me ask you a question. As a creator, who's inspired you? Where does your inspiration come from?
That's a great question. I grew up, I'm like a kid of the 80s, so I grew up on a lot of the stuff, geek stuff, geek culture of the 80s, Transformers, He-Man, G.I. Joe, all that stuff. And obviously superheroes and mythology. So I grew up on a lot of that stuff. And then when I moved to the United States, because I'm originally from Croatia, I got introduced to anime and manga. So I kind of got enthralled into that particular world. And I kind of wanted to put the visual flair of both the Western and the Eastern in this book. And I hope it shows. But there's a lot of writers, a lot of, artists that it's hard to name them all. But, one of my favorite artists is Gary Frank. And here's hoping that one day I will be able to get a cover done by Gary Frank. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen. It'll happen. You gotta be positive. That's how these things happen. Positivity paves the way.
Absolutely. But yeah, so it's and I try to do a lot of the backing on Kickstarter for the indie. I started doing that about 3 years ago, and I try to back as many books as I can, because there's so many creators that here on this panel and that I talk to online. They have their visions, and it just you wouldn't have known that 3-4 years ago, until the Kickstarter became, more mainstream. It was very hard to really promote the book and meet these creators until that platform kind of kicked off, and then the shows. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of inspiration to go around.
Nice. Well, thanks. Let's go the same thing with Alfred, man. How did you get into comics? When did you start getting into comics and then getting started to creating comics? 'Cause you got a couple titles out.
Yeah, I started out in the '90s, somewhere in the '90s, and I just fell in love with the imagination comic from reading them, with the comic I was collecting, and then the Jim Lees and the Mark Vestries and the Chris Claremont and the comic books that was coming out then, the Batman comic books, Neil and stuff like that. And I just love the imagination, be able to tell a story and put your own story, your own scripts together. And then when I finally decided to do it, I got an idea about it, and which was chess. I just love the idea of being able to create scripts and create plot lines and have my own storyline, have my own comic book that people, and hopefully to have people react to the same way that I reacted to the comic books that I was reading at the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. Now, I got to ask you though, like, you got your Jim Lee, stuff like that. Now, when you're writing these books, right, like you're first diving into it, I mean, how did you figure out the secret serum?
I had a writer that I really enjoyed back then, was Scott Lobdell.
Mm-hmm.
They used to do script examples online.
Mm-hmm.
And he just follow those things. These Scott McDonald, I think, had like a thing out with script examples, and you learn how to just give these characters, make a character and give them a personality, and have their personalities clash with each other, and then make a story around it. And it's just a fun process, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and your books look great, man. Like I was telling you, before we went live. I mean, that's awesome, dude. And like you growing up in the '90s and what you were, what you were reading and stuff, and I'm the same. I'm a '90s kid with my comics. I got to say, like right here, man, that really hits home. It looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you missed the fun of the '90s comic books, the boom of Image and everything like that. The energy that was around then was amazing. It was just simply amazing for comic books. I mean, to walk inside a comic book store and get everything from Wildcats to X-Men to Cyberforce or Stormwatch, anything. I mean, the excitement of comic books back then and the environment around it, Wizard magazine, all the stuff that was going on around it, then was magical. And I always say I want to be part of something like that. And hopefully this is what we get a chance to do with Second Sight Publishing.
Yeah, that's kind of that's the vibe I'm getting. When Marcus was talking, that's the vibe I'm getting. Like, are we getting the spark now of like the Image 2.0? Like, are we going to get that, awesome independent publishing company that, is kind of bringing that life back? But it almost seems like in a bit of better terms. Yeah. In better terms than the Image style. But,
and that's the conversation, Marcus mentioned the conversation we had in South Beach as we was eating pizza, and that's the exact conversation that we had after the con. It's like, we asked each other what it is that you would like to do if we had a chance to do it in comic books. And to the letter, Marcus is doing exactly what he said he would be doing, and he gave me the chance to do exactly what I want to do, is to have that excitement and that fun and that feel behind my comic book. So hopefully that somebody will read it and have the same experience that I had when I bought, comic books back then. So
you think some of that's lost nowadays with comics? Like that excitement, like in the '90s when we were getting those action-packed books and stuff. Do you think a lot of that's lost nowadays?
I think that magic. I think for that field of comic books, the magic is, it's not really there as much. You know what I mean? I mean, comic books has evolved into so many different things now, but that explosion of action and it's like a movie. It's like going to get the next comic book is like a movie thing. How people feel about movies now. You're just excited for that next week to see what happened in the next issue. So.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, it's just like how the movies are. Yeah.
Yeah, who was going crazy for Wildcats 2, Wildcats 3, or oh my God, Wildcats and Cyberforce doing crossover. Oh, we gotta get that. Oh
Yeah.
Red
Yeah.
Wolf is doing Kindred. I mean, remember they used to do the convention tours and the image tours and all types of stuff. It's just the way they did it. The package of it was so exciting.
Yeah, those comic shop owners, man, they thought they were going to be it. They thought that they were going to be millionaires. These guys at Image, everything that was cranking out, then DC and Marvel was trying to bring that same fire. You know, all my retailer buddies that are still in business, right? You know, they've been in business for 30 plus years now. They've survived all that roller coaster of the crash and everything. But they said, man, we were rolling in it. Like, it was incredible what those guys did. But as incredible as that 90s push was, right, that boom, it hit hard, you know. The aftermath of that explosion really left a wake of just kind of like, what do we do with everything? But it's good to see that you're trying to bring that you are bringing that in your books, you know. So it kind of brings that nostalgia, but in new life, new stories. So it's like reimagining that whole adventure all over again. So I appreciate that with your books.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as much as I got Marcus Roberts thanks for that, I also got Marvin Wayne thanks for that, for being inspiration, because he was there. We met each other at that time, and watching him doing it kept me doing it. So you know, he has a part of that inspiration as well.
Yeah, awesome, man. There you go, Marvin. See, you're not a bad guy after all. I've been trying to tell you.
Nah, not at all.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Put you hard on yourself, man. Sometimes you are. But tonight you're a good dude. We'll leave it at that. Carla, welcome to the show. You've got a pretty, interesting story with your way into comics and everything. So if you don't mind, I mean, give us a bit of like your origin story. I mean, were you always into comics? Was this kind of a new avenue? Tell us a bit about yourself.
So I worked in film and TV for a long time. I started working in film and TV in high school and went to NYU and then worked on both coasts. And so I kind of fell into comics when I was out in Los Angeles. I had a friend that got me to start going to comic conventions, and I just fell in love with being at the conventions. And then that's what introduced me to actually reading comics at that point. Was WonderCon was my first convention I ever went to. And then I was working on Duplicate, which was a pilot script at the time. And I thought, well, I've started to make all these friends in the comic industry, and I'm starting to really get into this as a medium. Why don't I try to adapt this into a comic book? So I said, I don't know how to write comics. I know how to write film and TV. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can find a class. And so I found a class at the now defunct Meltdown Comics in West Hollywood that was being taught by Jim Higgins, who was a former editor at DC Comics. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I met my group of comic book friends. We all share our scripts with each other. Rylan Grant, who did Banjax and Aberrant, Stephen Prince, who does Monster Matador, that just finished a Kickstarter, and then Jeff Leeds, who does a bunch of works for different anthologies. And so I just fell in love with the writing of it. It was a super challenging way of writing, especially when you're coming from film and TV, where you're pretty restricted with how you write. It's very dialogue heavy, and it's not a lot of words in between. And then you get to this, and it's like you have to be very sparse and really think through what you're having the characters say, so you're not overwhelming the page. And you have to, depending on your artist, write a lot more description so your panels come out the way you want. So it's been awesome moving into a field that I feel like my previous work helped me adapt to being able to do.
Yeah, and now your book, Duplicate, that's out to purchase now, correct?
Yeah, so the first issue came out in April. The second issue will come out, I want to say June 9th, I think is the date for issue 2. And I'm on a bi-monthly release for the first 5 issues. Oh,
actually, now is it just a 5-issue arc, or does it continue on after that?
It'll continue on after that. So the first arc is the 5 issues, and then there'll be 4 or 5 issues after that.
Oh, excellent. That's awesome. What's great about doing this type of show is we meet so many different creators, right? And so many have the film background. A lot of them did film. Some of them are still currently doing stuff in film, but they're also doing comics, because after they had a little bit of a die down in, say, film and television, they picked up in comics. And then when film and television picked up a little bit, or even stage work, they still were like, I really liked doing comics, and they stick with it. So they got this, two different things going on, but simultaneously. And I always wondered that, right? How's that transition work from writing, scripts for really dialogue, right, And then instead, though, now you have to write a script that has less dialogue, but the dialogue in the other sense is visual. So you have to tell the story visually in a panel with dialogue, or just visually in a panel, and that is the dialogue. Did you just find it to be a bit, I mean, describe, how was that transition? Because I feel like it'd be kind of complicated.
It was, and I think taking a class and learning that transition while taking a class was critical to my ability to be able to do this. I just remember like sitting there, and it would take me hours and hours and hours just to do a single page, because just wrapping my head around doing, you know, the exact opposite of what you're trained to do in film and TV was difficult. But then, you know, I knew I could take it to class, and we would workshop one page every week for the first issue. So the first issue was completely workshopped in this class. And so that really helped me, you know, expand my visual style. So like the first 4 pages in Duplicant, I originally had those as like one page. And then I was like, I have too much visual information for these to be in a single page. So I was like, I got to break these up into different pages. And so it was kind of just embracing that in comics. You can almost do anything you want, as opposed to film and TV, where you're always like told, well, we can't budget this set, and, you know, we don't have this actor on this day, and, you know, like the weather's not going to work for this. You don't have those sort of restrictions in comics.
Yeah, but it's almost like you have to have like a storyboard artist in your head too. So like while you're writing and stuff, you kind of have to vision, right? Like each panel, and that's like your storyboard. So it's like you have to have it. Now, I don't know if any of you draw or whatnot, but do you guys ever doodle out any, or for Carla, do you ever like doodle out kind of your layout of how you envision each page to be broken down?
Only if it's a page where whatever description I have, Mariana is having difficulty with figuring out what exactly I want. And I think that's only happened a couple of times, because I come from a family of artists. My great uncle is Rudy Nappy, who did all those famous Hardy Boy and Nancy Drew covers.
Oh, wow. I didn't put that together. That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
that is so
you
cool.
know, my dad's a graphic artist. My mom is an artist. So it's like, I can't draw to save my life.
I have some of those books. I have some of those. Yeah, I have some of those books. They were handed down.
Yeah, and he also did all these like Pulp Fiction covers too before that. And I have to ask my dad what it was with how he did the two hands, because he was a lefty, and so he grew up in that time when you were at Catholic school. They tied your left hand behind your back to force you to learn to write with your right hand. And so I think it was something like he would sketch with his left hand and he would paint with his right, but he ended up becoming ambidextrous because of it. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's neat. That's a fun tidbit.
Yeah.
That was a fun tidbit right now for anyone that's into those classic books. That's really cool. I just want to give a quick shout out here, just to Rican and his comics. Thanks for the $5 super chat. If that was just a donation, thank you to the channel. But if you had a question, please let us know, and we'll pop it up on the screen for you if it's for the panel. Marvin Wynn. It's always a win.
You got me following Carla, man. Come on.
Marvin Wynn, what's up?
I got nothing. For you.
He's like, I got a book. All right.
No favorite phone calls, nothing.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Super chat.
Oh man. Man, one up and all the time. He's always one up.
Hard to follow Carla, boy.
Yeah. Hey man, I know it's hard to follow all you guys. You guys are doing something that's very hard to do. Okay. It's a lot of hard work, but all of you guys as creators, publishers, writers, everything you're doing. I mean, a lot of people dream of it. They sit there and talk about it, and they talk and talk and talk and talk. You guys are doing. So kudos to all of you. But Marvin, man, what's new? What's going on? Where are we at with the Edge?
Issue 2 is right now in previews for release in July. Really excited to get that issue 2 out. Issue 1 got burned through. So, I mean, if anyone is trying to get it from Diamond, good luck, because they don't have any. So, and the only person that probably got them out there for distribution is myself, and those are all con books now.
All right.
Okay.
So,
or just send the message if the money's right.
Right. There you go. The money's right.
Money's right.
Yeah, but you can talk to Mr. Marcus about that second print though.
There you go.
No pressure.
Put him on the
Marcus.
spot, right? Put him on the spot.
So
Yeah,
Marvin,
right on
what,
TV right there.
He's like, let's just worry about issue 2 right now. No.
Marvin, what
Don't
font
make
are
me.
you
I will interject right here. Marvin is going in for a third printing on the Edge. He's being humble right now, but Marvin is going in on a third printing on the Edge. So I just want to throw that out there.
I don't know.
So yeah, continue on, Mr. 3. Mr. 3.
Nah,
3P, that's you.
The Edge is a good comic book. It's a pretty good book you got there, Marvin.
Yeah, I'm just really glad, and I'm humbled that everyone is enjoying the book, and we got like all these guys in the chat that I am part of their crew. Justin Rican and TM Nerdy and all these guys. They we just all connected, and I've been hitting on their channels pretty ferociously over the last couple months, and everyone seems like they're really enjoying it and loving what's coming out of not only me but all of Second Sight. Like it's been amazing that it was just a big explosion, and like it was more than I was expecting. I was expecting, we would do pretty good, but it's been amazing. And like just to see as you go on to like websites like Midtown, and they're sold out, or the books that aren't sold out are selling for above retail, because it's just been so ravenous for people trying to get at these books. And I keep getting messages from people now. They're saying that I asked my shop and they can't get it, so I keep telling them just wait a little bit and they'll probably get it, or if you want to slap me a little bit extra change, I can get you some copies. Don't tell nobody.
We'll dive into the secret stash, con stash.
So I've just been great, and I'm so excited that this coming up in 1 week, we're going to have our first convention in the year.
Nice.
Three Rivers Comic Con. I mean, it's going to be outside. It's going to be 72 degrees in Pittsburgh that day, and we're going to have a good time. And then we're going to do one again in June with Herrenberg. It's going to be Steel City. And then in July, we'll be up in Connecticut for Terrific.
Right. That's right. We're going to hit up that pub or whatever you keep talking about.
Yeah. So if Herrenberg, what's the name of that Irish pub that we're going to be at? Because it's a Airbnb too. So we'll be, I guess it's upstairs. They have rooms upstairs.
Nice. You sure it's a pub? No, we won't even get into that. But no, but Terrificon's a good time. If you guys haven't been or whatnot, I recommend you go. Or even if you can try get a table or whatever, Terrificon for the Northeast, right? That is probably one of the best conventions. I mean, it's the producer of that, Mitch Halleck. He's a friend of ours. But I got to say, I mean, it's one of those conventions, right? A well-produced convention. For comic fans, produced by a comic fan. So like you go there and you're getting what you want. It's not just packed with like TV and film celebrities and things like that. There's a few, but the ones that are there are very, it's very much related to comic books. So I mean, it's a good time. It's a real good time.
But as that much, Andrew, is that
the link, let's check it out.
What was that, Alfred?
I said, pass the link and we'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm open to check out all types of conventions this year.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to get into conventions. We were so ready to hit them hard, and then everything fell apart. But now that it's all, hopefully we're approaching the finish line.
I love me and Marcus hit them hard, and we have a great time doing them. So we just looking to do more, as many as possible.
Awesome.
So yeah, we're going to hit these things hard, and I know they're going to be busy because people are pent up and they got money to spend. So we just sit there and just ring the register and get them credit cards ready, because we want to bring the PayPal card.
Gonna bring the Square or whatever it is, right?
We got the PayPal reader, so we good to go.
There you go. Awesome. So where's Edge headed though?
Hey, the Square reader.
I know you've got issue number 2 coming out. You got issue 1 with the 3rd printing. How far are you going with this? Because you've been living on the Edge for a while.
So right now, Mark and I are in the throes of finishing up the 19th piece. So it's that's issue 15, 2 one-shots, and then there's a source book. So that would end, I think that's going to end the 4th arc. So I mean, there's no reason to stop it from going. I mean, I've written up to issue 25.
Oh, awesome! Oh, that's wow. How far are you going to go with this? You're going to go to the end?
As far as people want me to go. I mean, if people are enjoying it, I mean, there's just so many directions we can take it that it doesn't seem like it'll ever stop.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be like an old man, and I'll be seeing in the paper like Marvin Wynn's getting ready for the 300th issue of Edge.
There we go.
You know, his Kickstarter for the action figures is $40 million.
We got to beat Cerebus, right?
There you go. But
and we got a lot of stuff in the plans. We got some stuff going on with chess. We got some stuff going on with some indie action figure stuff. So I mean, that's Valiverse. We got some stuff going on with his characters coming over. So man, we're going to run the gamut and just see what happens. Like I'm having so much fun with it. It's just so exciting. And like just to reiterate with what Paige was saying about bringing that energy and that excitement back from the 90s, where when X-Men #1 came out and you just ran to the store to pick it up. And you were like, oh man, I got to be the first one to get it, not knowing that they printed like 2 million copies, and you know you can get it for like a quarter now in the quarter bin.
Yeah.
But it was still that excitement of grabbing that issue, and you read it, and you're like, oh man, it was so great. And like he said, it was like going to a movie, that excitement of the next MCU movie, because you know when that Black Widow comes out, it's going to be so much energy on that. Everybody's going to be back in the theaters crying about something again.
Yeah, exactly. But that's cool, man. I'm glad that you're cranking away at that still, and even just dabbing in. Sounds like, so are you guys planning on doing any over at Second Sight? Are you guys going to be doing any crossover stuff?
Well, yeah, I mentioned like we're going to do something with chess. I mean, most of the books don't have that natural fit. We've got a natural fit with chess, and then with Spike Jones' book, Lady Freedom. So there may be something in the mix there, but like I said, it's whatever fun. Let's just do it. If it's fun, why not do it?
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree. Now, Marcus, Jan, you're a creator and yourself. I mean, you got your books out there. You did some crowdfunding as well. I mean, tell us a bit about what you have going out, because I mean, this right here, that's a freaking sick cover.
Yes, sir. This book is currently under construction. This was my Kickstarter. The second issue or second volume of The Protector. The first one came out in 2019 and was nominated for a Glyph Comics Award. I was nominated for the Rising Star Award for the first volume of the book. With this Kickstarter, we've had some setbacks. The studio that I had doing it, they've had members to leave the studio, and you know, this is the very first Kickstarter I have done, and the friends who know me in this comic book world, comic book community, know that I've always been one to kind of shy away from it for reasons like this. You know, because it's a great way to get revenue to pay to get your book going, and at the same time, when you have those hiccups, like I'm having this hiccup. Now, I'm probably more concerned about the book not being out than the Kickstarter backers. They're very supportive. They understand. And it's me walking around on pins and needles like, got to get it done, got to get it done, got to get it done. But, the Protector, that is my baby, so to speak. But I write on several different projects. The Mississippi Zombies, Hedge Hollow, as you just popped up, Hedge Hollow was nominated for a Glyph Comics Award in 2020. Story of the Year, Best Writer of the Year, Rising Star. It's an all ages book. I write in any and every genre, from horror to kids book. This is one of the anthologies we have that is actually published by Caliber, the Harvest of Horror, and it's a collection of horror stories. It's actually in stores now. You can go to your local comic book shop and order Harvest of Horror. Mississippi Zombie 2 actually hit stores in March of this year, so you can go to your comic book store to get that. as well as Mississippi Zombie 1. It went back for a second printing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, as a comic book creator, those were some of the things that I've done. But since really taking on the COO role at Second Sight, I hadn't had time to do anything creator-wise. I live vicariously through the creators. And, you know, it's Aaron, for example. I met Aaron a couple of years ago at a con. That's where I first saw his book and got a chance to get to know Aaron. And now to be able to experience with Aaron his book not only being distributed mainstream, but to see where his book was mentioned along with Marvel and DC, you know, that's a big thing. And that's that vicarious living that I'm talking about. With Carla. Carla didn't actually give you an actual year or date, but Duplicate has been her baby since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is 2021, and you know, for it to get the reception that it's got, for it to be as big as it is, and for, you know, and talking with her and hear that excitement and hear that glee in her voice because of what her book has done, you know, that's a big thing for me as well. Same thing with Marvin and Paige. That's one thing about these creators. They aren't neophytes. They aren't new to the game. They all have some skin in the game. They've all paid their dues, and they just needed to have that break. And to be able to give them that break that they needed, to me, that I don't have to create another comic book. I can live on the fact that, you know, I was able to help some of my fellow independent creators get the break that they needed or that they wanted.
Oh, that's great. That's well said, man. That's well said. I'm going to start doing that too. That's the way to go. Now, with conventions and stuff going up, you know, like they do publisher booths and stuff, will we start seeing Second Sight publishing booths at conventions?
Yes, you will. And here, the one thing about having creators all over the place is because like Marvin is in Pittsburgh, Marvin will be representing not only himself but Second Sight. Because of where Carla is and the traveling that she does for conventions. Peter Bro is in Canada. Bradley Gold is in Mississippi. Now, Aaron Page and I, we happen to be in the great state of Florida, where they have at least 5 or 6 conventions a month year round. So we go all across the state representing. That's, you know, we mentioned about the cons cranking up again, and that's the one thing that we are excited for is being in Florida. It's a ton of cons. Even this year, we've already got at least 4 that we've locked in for the company here, just here in Florida. And we're looking to expand out as more cons are being announced. Because once again, this goes back to what I was saying about being an independent comic book creator. We know this is where those guys make their money. Guys and girls. Well, we know this is where they make their money. They make their money with these cons. Yeah. So we want them to go to the cons. We encourage them. You know, giving away a little company secret here, we encourage them to actually come up with their own covers for their books to sell as con exclusives. You know, so they can have something different to take to the fans. Because, you know, with being independent comic book creators, we know in order to get our books going, we have to have revenue coming in. So as a company, we want to try to help our creators make as much revenue as they can. Because once again, ultimately, we are publishing their book. So, you know, the more money they make, the more money they can put into their book, the better the book looks, the better the quality. Then when we go to publish it, the better the book is we're putting out for the fans.
Yeah. That's science, man. Sounds like you guys got it down, too.
It's a symbiotic relationship. We're all Spider-Man fans. We know about the symbiote. We were there when they came in on the space shuttle with John Jameson. So, you know, it's a symbiotic relationship.
Original story. Yep.
Now let's dive in a little bit though, like because with the creators here, and real quick, I just want to find out now, Carla, with your book, just give us a brief kind of like synopsis what it's about for anyone interested in picking up a copy.
So it's set in the future during a pandemic of organ failure, and it focuses on the scientist who becomes a victim of his own technology, which is duplicate organs. Because in this world, when your organ fails, you get an exact replica of your organ, but the cost is so high, you're put into indentured servitude, and human organs are not allowed to be used as replacements.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. It's like our health system now. No.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. That's cool though.
So realistic. So 2021.
Yeah, true story right there. It's a true
story. Created before the pandemic.
Yeah.
But eerily accurate.
Exactly. So tell us a bit about the characters that you have in the book.
So Matt Travers is the head scientist, and he's the one that created the duplicate organs. And he's been focusing on trying to find a vaccine now, and his efforts keep failing. And that's part of the mystery of what's going on in this world. And so when he starts to hear that there might actually be an issue with his tech, that's when he starts to really panic, because he wanted this to only be good for the world. And so he's been very upset and trying to change the way his work was monetized in this really severe way, where people are being put to do work that they never wanted to do in a million years. And in the meantime, there's also this black market for organs where people are basically being pulled off the street to give organs to people who don't want to get put into the system. And it's led by this religious fanatic that used to work where Matt worked.
Oh, that sounds so cool. Like, so basically, I'm going to see this in a couple years on Sci-Fi, right? We'll have this series. Or something like someone's going to pick this up. That sounds like that. That is awesome. I'm gonna have to grab a copy of your book. That sounds really
so
cool.
this is the variant cover. Well, not variant. It was the cover B. Was this, and then Lost in Comics did this really awesome 1 in 50 cover. I think there might be a couple left.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then this is what issue 2 looks like. That's Matt, my lead character.
Oh, wow. That's great. Now I gotta ask, what inspired the idea of this? Did something happen that actually inspired this idea, or was it just like something that popped into your head?
Well, there were a couple of different things that inspired me. So I grew up during the AIDS epidemic. I was a little kid when that was happening. So just seeing how that played out and how people were being treated, in this way that they were almost toxic when they weren't. And, Ryan White was the final connection where people started to be like, okay, we have to start treating everyone like a human being, which they should have been doing from the beginning. But it took a child having to come forward to be like, hi, I'm sick, to have that happen. So that played a big part in how people are treated in this book after they've been sick. And then also, I've had my own health struggles and financial issues and not having insurance and having to forego taking care of my health because I couldn't afford it. So that was definitely an influence. Minority Report and Repo the Genetic Opera, Blade Runner, all those types of movies were a big influence. And then at the time when I was breaking this idea, there just happened to be a bunch of articles at the time about the burgeoning field of 3D printing and nanotechnology in medicine. I think even Grey's Anatomy at the time was like doing an episode about like some sort of 3D printed organs. So it just was like a confluence of a bunch of different things that came together.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Now, it's obviously being distributed to comic shops and stuff. How can is there any other means or methods anyone can go to buy the book? Is going to purchase it online? Anything of that nature?
So yeah, we're in previews now. I believe if anyone wants issue 1, they just have to contact their local comic book store to have them put in an order with Second Sight, and then same with issue 2. Issue 2 will officially be in stores in June, but if they're also looking for like the Kickstarter versions of the books, they just have to go to Kickstarter and look up Duplicant, and then if there's any tiers that they like, those are the Kickstarter versions. So they're more expensive because they help fund the production of the book, but they also come with a bunch more goodies in the back of them. And then they could just, reach out to me through social media to find out how to PayPal me if they're interested in those. So like this is the Kickstarter version. So like issue 1 and issue 2 are unique to Second Sight because in my Kickstarter, this is issue 1 and 2 combined as a perfect bound.
Mm-hmm.
So like the cover for issue 1 isn't being done anywhere else but Second Sight.
Yeah. And that's in the traditional floppy form too, correct?
Yeah. So, but the Kickstarter version is the perfect bound, and then it comes with all this like extra art that I did and had done in the back of it.
Nice. Now anyone that wants to follow you, they're interested in what you're doing, they want to keep up with what you're doing. Do you have any social media handles or anything that they can look up to find you?
Sure. So I'm on Facebook under Duplicate Comic, just one big word smashed together. And then I'm on Instagram and Twitter under Musings, MUSINGS by Crazed, BYCRAZED.
All right, excellent. And Harrenberg has that in the chat. So if anybody wants to follow Carla, head over to Twitter and Musings by Crazed. Musings by Crazed. I forgot the S. Just look that up and then hit that follow. And thanks. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm going to try to, get a copy myself of that book so I can check it out. Maybe we'll throw it under this. You can kind of see part of my overhead camera thing. So I definitely got to get out of the view, but we've been doing comic book reviews. But yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing your book with us.
Thank you.
Aaron, man, I feel like I left you up there in the corner, just hanging out,
I'm
But,
in the corner.
I'm just waking you up right now, real quick, man. Let's just give me 15 minutes now. Tell us a bit about your book. Tell us about what your series is about.
So, Book of POPXP, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's a story about different gods. So, different mythologies: Greek, Egyptian, Norse, Roman, all of these deities. So, you're gonna have Hades versus Anubis and Thor, and you're gonna have them all interact basically on this realm, and that was locked in a conflict for eons. So it's basically each deity and each pantheon, if you want to call it that, is separated in families. So they're basically like, that's why I said it's kind of like Game of Thrones in that sense, or Song of Ice and Fire, because that's kind of how I got introduced to the Game of Thrones story. In this particular arc, the first arc, it really follows the two brothers, Kronos and Deimos, which are on the cover of the issue 1, as they're basically trying to stop this war that was going on forever. But as the story progresses, you kind of find out a lot more who they actually are, what actually happened, and all of that. It's kind of like it almost goes in reverse, as where it begins to where it ends. I kind of wanted to kind of have that mystery play instead of it having just a chronological order to the story.
Nice. And how many issues do you plan on this whole series going? Was it? I'm sorry, you say it was like 6 you were at or something?
Yes. So 1 through 6 are going to be the main story, and then there's going to be a one shot, which I'm going to release after issue 4. It's going to be called Hades, Birth of a God, which is essentially, I can't spoil too much, but essentially it can be read by itself, but it ties to the story quite a bit. It's nice. If you don't read it, it's fine. If you do read it, it's gonna give you that full picture. And as I've stated, I did get funded for Kickstarter. I had like 4 Kickstarters. I can show you some of the Kickstarter covers that I've had. So like this one here, that's one of the Kickstarter covers for issue number 3. That was done by Koi Fam. And that has one of the Egyptian gods, Mahiz, on it.
Oh, very nice.
So I kind of wanted to have that. One thing with my book is that each deity has different color schemes. So like Egyptians are like gold and more earth color, and I really wanted to kind of have the pantheon as tell a story about it. Them. After the 6 issues, I mean, if it's successful and if people want to read it, my idea was to actually introduce more pantheons, to have, you know, Native American, have Japanese, have Chinese, you know, have all of that, because it's this whole world that I have so many ideas with.
Nice, nice. Now, where can everyone go to follow you? So, like when we're seeing, you know, snippets of these ideas that hopefully you're sharing on social media.
So yes, you can go to facebook.com /Book of Laxia, which is the name of the book, or you can go to Instagram under Aaron Pohara, which is my name, and on Twitter, Book of Laxia, and you're able to, you know, see everything that I share. I'm mostly on Instagram and Facebook. It's very hard to be on all 3 platforms at the same time and keep them all engaged. I try my best, guys, but I'm still trying to create as well. So it's been an interesting process. Like Kala, not professionally, but originally this story I wrote as a script, like an actual script for a movie. And what was funny is the way that you say, the way that you have to do the comic book scripts, like Kala was saying, you can have too much stuff on a page. So I would have 2 or 3, 4 actions on one panel, and everybody's like, spread it around. I purchased a lot of just scripts from like Wolfman and Peter David, and just kind of read to see how the script format works, because I haven't done it in that format before. So that was just interesting.
Oh, cool. And that's a good method though, right? So for anyone out there that's an aspiring writer or wants to get their book, go online, look for copies of scripts, or if you can purchase, you know, copies of scripts and kind of study how they're doing it. Might help with the structure, you know? So that's cool, man. Well, Aaron, man, thanks for sharing your book with us and, you know, what you're doing. And actually that little tidbit right there of how you kind of, you know, learned how to see how comic book scripts are being written. Now, Mr. Page, man, tell us about you've got Chess, you've got Blowtorch. I mean, tell us a bit about Blowtorch.
Yeah, you know, one of the things I wanted to do with Chess was branch out with some of the characters on the team. You know, it's one of the things that I love so people get a better relationship with from the team members. We did it one time with Pinpoint, which was successful, which is going to be coming back to Second Sight, and we did with Blowtorch, and Blowtorch is an idea. Is a character that his real name is Richard Kincaid. He's always the perfect soldier, and we wanted people to get a chance to see what makes him the perfect soldier, how he is, and you know, he has a deformed face. He wears a mask, and when people give him a comic book that people can relate to him better and understand his situation. And the first issue came out and had such a great feedback to it that we continued the series. So we're on issue 2 this month, coming out June 9th with the rest of the titles, and it's been a fantastic experience with Blowtorch 1.
Nice. Now tell us a bit about Chess, because that's a bit different.
Chess is command headquarters of espionage and strategic strikes. And being a fan, like I said, of the 90s comics, everybody had a team comic book. This person had Youngblood. This person had Wildcat. This person had Cyberforce. Everybody had a team comic book that they could either mix with another team or do their own stories. And I wanted my own team, and I came up with Chess. I used a couple influence with people that's around me, and things that I love from comic books and movies, characters that I love, and kind of mix them up and put my own team together. And that's when we got Chess. Chess is about a strike team that takes on these personal agenda missions, mission by no rules. They work for a gentleman named Avery Davis, who is in the position to fund this team, and anything that he feels needs to be acted on, he uses the strike team to act on, good or bad, depending on how you see it. My writing partner is Alex DeGrocci in the scripts, and he does a fantastic job with dialogue and comic books that you really could read and twist the plots and stuff like that. And I think anybody that reads chess and reads chess issue to issue will really enjoy it and really enjoy catching the twisted plots and things that we got going on.
Yeah. Now, I actually first heard. Now, I known about you for a while. I wasn't stalking or anything. I wasn't outside the bushes, but I saw Chess. I've seen the book Chess. I actually would have grabbed the copy I got over there, but I actually even picked up a copy of it that I got. But that really caught my eye with that whole team. And I saw that, and I saw your Kickstarter and stuff for that. I love that team concept, man. I think it is like a '90s thing. Because you had the X-Men, then once Image hit, you had Wildcats, and then all these other teams coming in. It's cool that you have that whole thing going and keeping that universe going. Even with Edge, Marvin. It kind of brings that all in. But you got some. I have to say, as far as like kind of that traditional, just action-packed comics, man, you're nailing it. You really are. You're crushing it.
Appreciate that, sir. Appreciate that. Like I said, I want the best gift I could get is that somebody would walk in now and read one of my comic books and have the same reaction that I did reading, X-Men, Blue and Gold team, those comic books and stuff like that. And if somebody could respond like that, that's the best gift.
Yeah, definitely.
And I want to recreate the comic books that I fell in love with.
Yeah, and I recommend anyone out there, if you were into the 90s style comics and stuff, but with a modern twist with some great art and script, definitely check out, Chess. I know Chess. I haven't read any of Blowtorch, but right from what I can see and what some of the sample pages I read and stuff, it's right there too, which is awesome. I got to get my hands on some of that as well. But you're definitely crushing. Now, where can everyone go to follow you to see what's new and what's coming out?
Yeah, I have to give a lot of credit to that team for Blowtorch. Alex, when we talked about the idea for Blowtorch, the direction he wanted to go to, he wanted to go the more emotional direction. And I'll leave that for you to read in the comic book when you read the first issue. But we want to go the more emotional connection to the reader. And Montos did the artwork. When you start sending pages, it was so gorgeous. Such the artwork is so crazy that we didn't want to color it. He's like, you just want to leave it just the way it is right now. And then I was lucky enough to meet Sade Semafonte at a convention, who's the letterer for Wonder Woman and Catwoman and these comic books like that. And we talked about the project together, and then when she did the lettering for it, it's just a magical connection. I think the comic book came out fantastic. I think issue 1 was great, but I think what they did on issue 2 was even better.
Oh, nice.
So I think Blowtorch issue 2 to date probably one of the best comic books I could say out my camp that's being done.
All right, so the challenge is out there, everyone. Go to your local comic shop and request it. We're gonna see if this is the best to date. Game on. Let's check it out.
I think Blowtorch issue 2. I think they really came together on that one, script wise, and how it reads, and how Sade did the lettering. It's really a magnificent looking comic book.
Nice. And where can people go to follow you to keep up with what's going on with Chess, Blowtorch, or any other titles you're working on?
Of course, Second Sight Publishing, Project Chess on Facebook, Tactics 12 on Twitter, and Page Dollars on Instagram.
All right, awesome, man. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your books and your story and everything you've been doing. So everyone, make sure you're writing this all down. If you're not, just checking the chat. Herrenberg's doing a great job of, as we're talking, he's getting everyone's social media links in that chat there. And Mr. Wynn, I know how to get a hold of you. No one wants it. Don't worry about it. No, I'm joking. We got that. It's a green.
No bribing. No bribing.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, man. So for those that aren't familiar with Edge, man, give everyone kind of the synopsis. The team, the story, everything.
It's the old the Edge is a drug, gives those superpowers. Probably stuff you don't even want or even need, but as you're using them, you're going to drain out and you're probably going to die. So our lead villain, Revenant, has those secrets and he's out in the world. Maybe he wants to tell somebody about it. Maybe he doesn't because he's a jerk. But his former handler, Tartable, sends a team after him. So the one thing that we want to reiterate a lot in the book is that we're not telling you who the bad guy is. We're going to let you make your mind up on that, because there's a lot of gray there. There's a lot of lines being crossed, and just because someone seems like they're a hero or a villain on an issue 1, that could change by issue 4.
Oh, nice. It's almost like choose your adventure books type thing.
Yeah. Well, eventually people start picking sides, and it's not going to be good for anybody when sides are chosen, because when you choose a side, then you start to feel that you need to follow whatever that person is telling you to do. Except for Revenant, because he's a jerk and he won't ever follow anybody.
That's awesome, man. So now you've got, obviously you're getting published through Second Sight and stuff. How can everyone follow you in regards to keeping up with anything that you've got going on, any secrets you're leaking as you continue creating?
Oh yeah, I am spoiler guy. I do that. That's me. So at the Edge Comic on Facebook and Instagram, and at Marvin Wynn on the Twitter.
Fantastic. Marvin, man, I got to ask, so, is there anything you're planning on working on outside of Edge, or are you solely just dedicated to it?
So there are a few little things that Mark and I are working on. We're working on a time travel book, and we're doing, I want to do horror. I've never written a horror book before, so I want to do something with werewolves, not zombies. Werewolves, because every time I bring up horror, somebody says, "Well, don't do zombies." Everybody does zombies. So, okay, fine. Werewolves.
Yeah, zombies are done. Zombies are done. Bye, zombies. Wolves are in. They're always in. In my book, you'd say werewolves, and I say, "All right, here's my money."
Yeah, werewolves are the new zombies.
There you go. Wave of the future. I like that.
So yeah, and then we've got our Superman archetype character that. We're going to go into a little bit of PTSD. He doesn't want to fight anymore because he has he's traumatic syndrome. So he hears a siren, he starts to shake, and he goes into his basement and hides.
That's heroic. Awesome. So when do you plan on getting some of these other projects out?
I would say probably we're to start fully working on that stuff probably end of this year for coming out next year.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you putting this all together, working with me to get all these amazing creators on, and, getting Marcus on, the COO of Second Sight Publishing. I got to say, man, you guys, I'm a little upset. I'm a little disappointed, not going to lie. Bradley, I don't know why you're not on this screen. I'm going to throw it out there. I saw you in the chat. You can't hide no more. But
it's a funny story. Bradley tells everybody that the only reason he hired me was to be the voice of the company, so he doesn't have to do podcasts. Just so I do all the podcasts.
Good. You're a good man. Good save, Marcus. Good save. Bradley, you got a good man right here. He's looking out for you.
Yeah.
Nah, but definitely, I like the motto of the company. I like what you're doing, Marcus. I like how you guys are leading in taking care of your creators, in the sense of, allowing them to keep their creative freedom, keep their properties, and really just kind of work more cohesively as a team, it sounds like. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. That's really cool. And really congratulations to your guys' first year, as a publisher, and even everything that you guys have coming down the road. If you can share a little bit, is there anything you guys have coming down the road that you can talk about?
Well, next month we will have coming in previews the return of Chess Masters. what we're doing with that, we are republishing that book, and all the proceeds of that book will be going to Gary McClendon's family.
Very nice.
So we're bringing Chess Masters back, and then we're also looking forward to the release of Menagerie Declassified from Myth Division and Ramon Govia. That anthology book is chock full of superstars. Once it comes out, man, that's definitely something you want to get your hands on. But more importantly, for the month of July, for previews, that's the Horror Month special for previews. So look for Second Sight Publishing to unload and unleash a whole bunch of horror stuff in the month of July on Previews World. We actually are pretty proud of this lineup of horror stuff that we're going to be putting out there for folks, because we started out as a horror company. Mm-hmm. That's our bread and butter, and we're going to show folks why we say that with the release of some of the titles that we have coming out.
Oh, nice. I look forward to that. You know, keep us in the loop, Marcus. You know, if you want, you know, we'll help push whatever you guys got going on through our social media channels or anything. Or even if you guys ever want to come back on just to promote some stuff, you know, keep us in the loop. And that goes for all of you on this panel. If you ever have anything coming up, you know, feel free to reach out. We'll be glad to have any of you on. Yeah, just PayPal that money over. Marvin gets it. This pro bono. This is all out of the love of our hearts. Don't you worry.
We're definitely going to take you back upon that, because and, you know, the thing about being a new company, because we actually just got started getting our books there in Diamond. We just got started with our distribution, and it's like, we see the success that's happening for the creators. So we're definitely going to take you back up on the offer, because, you know, I'm looking forward to bringing Alfred Page back on, saying that his title sold a whopping 10,000 copies. I'm looking forward to bringing Carla Nappy back on, saying that her book has been signed for a television series. Bringing Aaron and bringing Marvin back, saying that their titles have been signed for animation, because those are also goals as a company that we have set to try to obtain for our creators. Because, as we said, we're indie creators ourselves, and we know what we want. We know how we would like things to go. So that's how we treat our creators, as if their properties were our own and what we would do with them.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And before we wrap up, I do just want to go around real quick. You know, as creators, you know, especially you, Marcus, in this lead position, really, you know, helping guide, lead, inspire other creators out there. What's the one bit of advice for anyone out there? Let's say a kid at the Kubert School right now, just trying to get his craft together, whether it's writing or art. I mean, what's the one bit of advice, like the first bit of advice you would give an aspiring comic book creator?
Don't give up. I didn't publish my first comic book until I was 53 years old.
Yeah.
Don't give up. I mean, if you are serious about doing it, then do it.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think there's a time and place for everything in your life, and sometimes that patience. Don't give up. Good things will come if you just keep pushing. So that's awesome advice, Marvin. That question at you. You just hold the dollar up. There you go.
I mean, just reiterate what Marcus said, is that just stay the course. Mm-hmm. Be yourself, stay the course, and never let anybody tell you you can't do anything.
Yeah. Alfred.
That's it.
That's it. Just stay the
course. I would say just enjoy what you're doing. If you enjoy your comic book, other people enjoy your comic book.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Carla?
I would say everything that they've said, but also, sorry, I keep getting an echo. I don't know if it's me.
No, I'm not picking up an echo. I haven't heard one.
Okay, hold on. Let me. All right, how's that? I would say everything that.
Yeah, mine's better.
But also, yeah, I'm getting an echo.
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I hear it too.
I wonder if it's me. Hold on.
Everyone sounds
All right, I
great
think it's
on
gone.
my end. Oh,
Yeah,
is
Yeah,
that
I had an
going?
echo too.
How's that?
Better.
Better?
Yes.
That's a lot better.
Yeah, there you go. 100.
Everything everyone else said, but also just to write every day, even if it's just a couple of lines in the morning about how you're feeling or at the end of the day about your day, just to try to get into that muscle memory habit of writing every day and not to feel overwhelmed by having to write something big. Even just writing something small will help you hone your writing skills.
Oh, that's great advice. Now, would you recommend, saying that, they have a lot of journals out there for creatives, as they call it, right? And it kind of like helps like put ideas together, asks you questions every day. Is that something you maybe recommend? Is that kind of like what you're talking about?
That could work. I mean, for me, what helped, there was this contest that NPR used to do, which was 1 minute fiction. And so they would give you a list of ideas and you basically just had to write about a paragraph or no more than a page on these ideas. So that helped me. But also when I was at NYU, some of the classes I took, like the cinematography class, we had to write about things we saw out in the world that inspired us visually in great detail. And just doing something like that actually helps a lot with being able to visualize your panels, I think. Mm-hmm. If you can, take whatever you might see out in the world, like what, you're walking down the street or if the other thing I learned when I was learning how to write dialogue was to just sit in a restaurant, which, I don't know if people are comfortable doing at this point yet, but just like sitting in a place where you can listen to other people talking and writing down how people talk really helps you learn how to write dialogue when you listen to just actual natural conversations happening around you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea.
That is a good idea. Yeah. Thank you. Aaron, we'll head on to you now. Any advice for the aspiring creator out there?
I mean, everybody kind of touched on everything that's important, but the one thing I would like to add is write what you want to write. Write the stories you want to tell, regardless of you thinking it's going to be commercial or not. Write your stories, write them the way that you want to write them. Because that passion will be shown in your book at that point. And yes, Slavic gods are coming. I saw the chat. So they are coming. But yes, just to write your passion, whatever it is. If you like horror stories, write horror stories. If you like manga, write manga. If you like mythology, like I like mythology, and this was just a story that was burning my head forever. But I'm gonna write sci-fi. I'm gonna write horror. I have so many ideas in my head. Just write what you like. Write the genre you like and the stories that you want to tell.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. Exactly. So I just want to thank everyone so much. Thank you for coming on to this panel. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you letting us into the world of Second Sight Publishing and also getting to learn about your books and everything. And we'll add links to everything into the description of this live stream once it goes and gets processed through YouTube. So if anyone out there is interested in coming back and checking out, we will have those links for you. They're also in the chat if you happen to be live right now. And for anyone that's watching this recorded live, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure to just look right under Marcus there. You'll see a little subscribe tab. Give that a tap, click that, and then also hit that bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload new content. So everyone, make sure to check out Second Sight Publishing, and make sure to add it to your bookmark. Okay, you can do that with web browsers. You can add these sites to your bookmarks and just head right on over, put it into your favorites. See that? It's a little star. Boom, add it in, and there you go. So again, Marcus, thank you. Aaron, thank you. Alfred, thank you. Carla, thank you. Marvin, thank you. And I wish you all the best, and you're more than welcome to come on whenever you guys can. If you ever got anything new going on, please hit us up and keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thanks.
So much.
We're
Appreciate
happy to
it
be
so much.
here and look forward to coming back.
All right, awesome.
Yeah,
Well, everyone, have yourselves a
We all
great.
happy to be here.
Thank you. You guys were all awesome. You really are, and your books are all great. Truly are.
Trying to do the Marcus voice. It just doesn't come out right. I'm trying. Oh, happy to be here. Thank you so much. It doesn't come out right.
Nice. But everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you guys want, 9 p.m. tomorrow night, we'll be live with another episode of the Week in Pop with the Week in Pop crew. Special guests, we've got Brian Scherer on talking Gunship Thunder Punch 2. And yeah, it should be a good time. So we'll see you all tomorrow night on the Week in Pop. Everyone have a great night. Be safe and read a comic book before you go to bed. Bye.
Good night.
A second sight one.
Have a good night.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on POPXP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the POPXP and over on Instagram at the POPXP. Thanks again everyone, and we'll see you soon.